Evil Squid Comics Podcast. We are part of the Collector's Maze Network.
Don.
Scott.
Andrew.
All right.
Page by page.
Little Bird. Well, there's two stories in here.
Little Bird and Precious Metal.
Yes, that was what the other one was, and that's why I wanted to open it, because I could not remember what the second one was called. I believe I've read Little Bird before.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Because it came out, 2020, 2021, something like that?
Quite a while ago.
Yeah, it was a bit of a time there before. And but the funny thing was, I was trying to take a look to see if I could.
Quick aside. So Little Bird came out first. Precious Metal is a prequel.
Yes, it is.
When I read Precious Metal as it was coming out, and I hadn't recently read Little Bird, my brain could not process any of it. So reading Little Bird right before Precious Metal is probably your best bet.
I would agree. I would definitely agree. Looks like 2019 was when Little Bird came out. Damn small print, that's for sure. But yeah, I believe I had, like I said, I had read Little Bird before, but it's one of those things in which at first I'm like, yeah, this looks cool. It looks I think it's vaguely familiar. And then by the time I got to the last issue, oh yeah.
Yeah, you remember the beats.
I remember the kind of the swap there at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the basics of Little Bird, here again, another post-apocalyptic type of comic in which it seems like the U.S. has a bit of a, I want to say dictatorship, but it seems to be ruled by
some religious fanatics.
Yeah, by the religious fanatics there. And they're starting to spread, I think, more into Canada, and there is a bit of a fight there. And in its essence, Little Bird is, a refugee in a way that that the religious fanatics are trying to chase down, because they believe that she could have a little bit of her heritage leads them to believe that she could be, a little bit more powerful, than some other just regular Joes. And so you meet some interesting characters there. I like. I guess it would be her dad, or would it be grandfather-ish, maybe?
Grandfather, I think.
Yeah, I think grandfather, the Axe.
Yeah.
Who he just takes down things all the time, and has you can tell he's the one who has the invincibility and seem to pass it down to his daughter and then granddaughter there.
He's your fun, burly, tanky character.
Oh, absolutely.
Shit.
The book moves at a freaking breakneck pace there. I mean, it's just flying. And I do like the fact that they don't necessarily just spell everything out to you.
They make you really work for it.
Yeah, you got to work for it, but it's not real tough. But you can, if you're zooming through and not really paying attention. There you go. That's the exact words right there. You've got to focus on what you got there, and most of it you'll get there.
Honestly, I think I could read it a third time and catch some more stuff.
I could totally agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. And especially after reading Precious Metal, I almost want to go back again then. As you said, Precious Metal being a prequel, seeing some of that stuff there with the particular character that's in there.
It took me halfway through Precious Metal to realize that the main character of that was in Little Bird.
Oh,
was
really?
That guy that they run into halfway through.
Okay, yeah, no, I picked that up right away just because he was so... Well, no, he just stood out to me because he had that, weird tentacles for arm or whatever the hell it is. So, the design on that particular character kind of stood out. Sure. And so reading through it there, I kind of got that. But it was just interesting with his backstory. I don't know. I think somewhere in Precious Metal, it didn't grasp me quite as well as Little Bird, though, either.
Well, the story the story isn't as tight or as, what's the word? It's just not as
maybe
epic.
Even linear or something like that.
Yeah, it's not as linear, and it doesn't feel like it has as much...
it gets into...
There's not as much going on, and there's not as many... The stakes are much smaller, it seems like.
Oh, very true, very true. And the characters are just weird, and it gets into a lot of weird, abstract-y type of scenario things going on. I mean, the art in it is beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And I found myself getting caught up just more in looking at the pretty pictures and really trying to probably even absorb what the hell was being said through a lot of it. But yeah, it's definitely was. It didn't disappoint me. But Little Bird I thought was really good.
Yeah.
And Precious Metal was just okay. So.
But that's kind of the nature of most prequels. Most prequels, don't need to exist necessarily. I mean, it's hard to justify their existence in general because most stuff happening in prequel has already been somewhat established through context or whatever.
That very true.
And so,
well,
it
and
just
sometimes
kind of fleshes it out
with the nature of a prequel. Exactly right. Prequels are just, hey, here's some additional info for you if you liked what you read in here.
Yeah.
You know, I look, that like with Star Wars or something like that. The prequels were in a lot of ways, hey, let's just give you some more backstory of things and this world building that I was wanting to do in general. But hey, the real meat of my story is right here in these chunks where they're more action-packed areas.
For sure. Cool.